What's up guys, Mr.Meow here with another Spellbreak gauntlet video. Today we're going to be doing Toxicologist. So today I'm going to be going over the meta favorite Toxicologist gauntlet. And again, if you guys have liked these gauntlet videos, don't forget to like and subscribe. Also guys, if you haven't already, don't forget to check my Twitch if you haven't already. Twitch.tv/MrMeownandez. I've been running a lot of giveaways the last month or so. If you want to try and get in there, make sure you hang out because the entries are for channel points. So I do try to give back to people that hang out as much as they can. And let's get started. So just to get started, this is a very popular gauntlet. I think this is the best gauntlet that there is in the game at the moment. You'll see a lot of TTVs, a lot of high kill people running this gauntlet. It's just the best, the most mobility. It has so much power, so much mobility. It's hard to ignore this gauntlet. It is worth getting good with this gauntlet if you're trying to get started in the game because it is just really powerful. It has a lot of options, and while you're fighting somebody, you can go invis, you can dash, you can just do a lot of things. So I would try and practice this gauntlet if you're getting into the game. Also, it's worth noting, I do think that this gauntlet, you do need to run high sensitivity. So if you're not a high sense player, this gauntlet might not be for you. Now, when you're trying to pair Toxicologist with another gauntlet, I think the top option is definitely going to be ice. I think that's also going to be what you're going to see most commonly, most people using Toxicologist with ice. The snipe option is just really good. It's like running a sniper and a shotgun, essentially. I do think it pairs well with a lot of them. You know, electricity, just good. Pairing it with wind is good. Fire is good. Stone is kind of like doubling down on, close range, but it's still an option. I think it just pairs well with most of the gauntlets as a secondary, but I think your top option will 100% be ice. So another thing with pairing this with other gauntlets is the Toxic Cloud has combos with almost every single gauntlet. You know, you can blow it up with fire, you can create like a poison tornado, which is really powerful, does a lot of damage, hits people really hard. You can shock the poison ball, which, makes them sit in it a little bit longer, they can't attack you, and it like stuns them for 3 seconds or so. It has a lot of combos. Ice, you can freeze the cloud, and if anybody's in it or near it, they kind of get frozen if they're in it too long, which is super beneficial for multiple reasons. If you're running, ice, you can try and freeze them in it and then snipe them again. A lot of combos can be done, so I would definitely try and toy around with different gauntlets, but ice still just being the best. So it should be noted that this gauntlet probably has the most mobility in the game in fight in terms of speed or quickness, whichever you prefer. And if the wind gauntlet is second highest, I would compare the wind gauntlet to an SMG, while this one is more of a shotgun. You want to get in your opponent's face, maybe invis at them, and just start smashing them with your light attack. Now your two attacks in this, your light attack are a spray. If you are using this as your main class, it leaves like a puddle on the ground that does a lot of damage to anybody standing in it, including yourself, so be careful if you're standing too close to those puddles, don't stand in them. And also your heavy attack is a like ball that you throw it and it just makes this massive poison ball. It does a ton of damage to people. If you touch it and you have your first buff, you do go invis, but it can be also countered. People throw their fireballs at them. People do a lot of things to try and counter these. So it's also worth noting to be careful if you're getting near them. Get away from them ASAP because they're essentially ticking time bombs. This gauntlet has a really high invis chain ability. You can essentially stay invisible as long as you want for the most part. If you run straight invis as your rune, you can probably be invis most of the time. Keep in mind you can do a lot of trickery with this. It has a lot of power. While you're invisible, you do more damage with your light attack, so it's just really powerful. A lot of mobility, a lot of versatility as well with your rune options. Getting into the talent build for Toxicologist, I think for Mind Scroll, I think Harmony is the best option. Just you don't want to be frozen or shocked or anything while you're trying to move around. You're going to be close to your enemies a lot of times, so if you're invisible and you're not able to attack, it's very disadvantageous. But Runic Fluency is also a really close second because getting multiple dashes or multiple of, any of your movement runes also really aggressive. So I would stick to one of those two. Focus Mana can be used if you really are greedy and want to do a lot more damage, but I would definitely put Harmony at the top. Damage reduction is just good, and being immune to everything that would stop you from being able to attack is just great. When it comes to body scroll, I put my top option as scavenging. I just love getting HP back when you're getting kills. That way you don't have to stop. You could just get kills, be aggressive, get your health back. I think your second option would be fervor. Just the attack speed, really beneficial. Being able to spray your light attack down with Toxicologist, just really good. And dexterity is really beneficial as well. Being able to like take height depending on what kind of secondary gauntlet you're using, also pretty solid. Now last is Spirit Scroll. You're gonna see this kind of coming up for me over and over again. I still think Thirsty is your best option here. I think almost every single gauntlet class I'm going with Thirsty. Though in squads, I do find Recovery pretty valuable. A good friend of mine was kind of going over with me that he felt like squads was just better because if everybody's running Thirsty, you might not need to run Thirsty. Just be your teammates and kind of benefit from their faster healing. You can kind of get your health back over time as taking damage. So I would put recovery as a good second for squads, but if you're playing solos or you're just trying to go for high kills, I would definitely still just run thirsty in your spirit spot. Just fast healing is just good. It's just it's hard to beat. It's hard for any of these skills to beat thirsty. Also, just the fact that you heal your teammate for half of your healing is just also super beneficial. Getting into the skill levels, I think this gauntlet class has the most synergized skill levels. I think most of them have decent synergy, but this one I think has just the hands down best. Your first skill, when you start the game, you just have your toxic spray leaving puddles, which adds to your DPS. You just damage people if they're standing in your puddles, or maybe your toxic spray and they're out of mana and they can't float out of it. Now they're just taking more damage and trying to get out of it and they're stuck, and it's just a really good skill. You start the game with this. Your second skill level is the real big hard hitter here. When you throw your toxic cloud down, you're immune to it, and when you enter your toxic cloud, you're invisible for 3 seconds. Now, it being your second skill level means you gain this when you get to the first circle, and this is what makes this class so good and so versatile. There's so many things you can run secondary runes and still get benefits of invis for 3 seconds. So you can run dash or what have you, and you also just still get invisibility. Just really powerful, really great for this class. Your third skill level is just kind of icing on the cake for this one. While you're invis, your toxic spray does 75% more damage, almost double. So you just can be invis and just do a lot more damage, run at people while you're invis, and just spray them in the face and just do tons and tons of damage. The final skill level you gain is spreading sickness, and it gives you +2 toxic clouds. So you get to store toxic clouds at the end of the game basically, and it just makes you so hard to hit. You could throw these toxic clouds down, they hit the ground, you can benefit on multiple invises. It's super beneficial, really powerful. These skill levels basically just make you unstoppable at the end of the game. If you are ever the only toxicologist at the end of the game, I feel like you're guaranteed to win. It's just really hard to beat. It is really powerful, makes you hard to hit. You're essentially a freight train that can just go invisible and fast. I think this class is really hard to compete with, and it's just really good. So if you're getting into this class, I do think it's worth it. It's really powerful, and when you get to the end of the game, you are just really good if you build this class correctly throughout the game. Your rune options are actually pretty varied. I think your best rune option is Shadow Step. Being able to just kind of do a little dodge and go invis is pretty good, especially if you time it correctly. You're able to, throw down your Toxic Cloud, go invisible, Shadow Step, and then if you have a rune stored, you can throw down another Toxic Cloud, go invisible again. It's just, chain you can keep doing, and it just gives you a lot of mobility, a lot of speed, really hard to hit. I think the most popular that you'll see is Dash. Dash is pretty powerful because you could just move further. Shadow Step gives you an extra couple seconds of invis, but Dash gives you a lot more mobility. I think both are really powerful options, so I don't think there's a right and wrong answer here. And third rune, I would put as invis. If you really just want to be invisible all the time, you can you can store invis, and you can just throw your Toxic Cloud, go invis. If they hit you, go invis again, kind of reposition on them. You can be really aggressive with this invis, and I like it. It's also a really good option. I don't think the first two are way better than regular invis. I don't think Shadow Step and Dash are so far above invis that they're the best options. Like I said, this has a lot of variety here. You can run all three of these. I do think Spring Step as a fourth option is pretty far behind these three. I think the first three are just way above Spring Step and really anything else that you'd want to put with this. I think these three options have a lot of synergy with Toxicologist, make it really powerful, and are all very aggressive. Overall, I do think this is a extremely powerful class, always worth using. I wouldn't disregard this class until you know it's not your playstyle, because this is definitely the best class in the current meta. So if you like this video, guys, I really have been enjoying making these videos for you guys. So next is going to be Fire. Forward to that, guys. I do appreciate you watching. I'll see everyone later. Peace out.